Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about how the law, legal practice, jurisprudence, the rule of law, the practice of law in the courtroom, the way district attorneys and prosecutors are handling cases that come before them, how all this is changing at an incredibly rapid pace. The idea of facts, evidence gathered by impartial people, the due legal process in a courtroom, all these sort of things are just going out. I think they've pretty much gone out the window, and it's changing the very nature of how law is practiced. I'm going to sort of give a couple of examples here. Now, typically, the way it works is if the police believe a law has been broken and the laws are codified, very clearly codified, they're on the statute books, there's very little ambiguity and a little bit room for interpretation maybe, but they're clearly codified. And if someone has transgressed, the police will arrest them, for example. The evidence they've gathered will be given then to the public prosecutor's office or the prosecutor's office, the DA, and then a decision will be made on whether or not they'll go to trial, try and cut a plea bargain deal, or drop the case. So it's just not worth it, or the evidence is too flimsy, or won't stand up in court, or anything like that. So all those decisions have been made, and this is within that. There's quite a few checks and balances meant to be exercised by people who are quite impartial. They've got no vested interest one way or another. Now, there's always going to be people corrupted by desire to be re-elected, and they'll see a high-profile case opportunity. There'll always be those sorts of things, but the reality is there's quite a few checks and balances in there. And then they've got to get in front of a judge, an impartial judge, who then looks at the evidence and they say your evidence is no good. I'm going to throw the case out, or the prosecution fails to make its case in court beyond reasonable doubt, and the person who's arrested or accused is innocent in the eyes of the law until it's proved in an independent court of law that they've committed that crime or crimes. So within that, there's quite a few checks and balances, but all that's disappearing. The DAs, the public prosecutors, the public defenders, all these they're all pretty much singing from the same ideological song sheet today. And the idea that the crusading lawyer who risks all to represent the innocent client, I mean, that's a laughable sort of piece of fiction from the movies today. The ability for any lawyer to practice law is allowed by them having a license to practice in that state or that region, and if they don't do what's expected of them, then they ain't going to be practicing for very long, and they know it, and so they do as they're told, and they go. And if they sense that the judge and the prosecutors and everyone else wants a guilty verdict here, they'll just quietly roll over, try and convince their client to. But the idea again of the crusading lawyer is bullshit. But talking to a lawyer a little while ago, and the lawyer, this was I suppose you'd call it a divorce court type, family court type case, and what the deal was, these people had been divorced, and they had a girl about 10 years old or so. But it turns out that the guy was not the biological parent. The girl had always believed him to be, the guy had always believed him to be, but the mother had fessed up. No, it's actually Billy Bob down the road's the one. And so the lawyer tells me that they sort of viewed this as that it was an ideological outcome they had to achieve. There was none of this. The mother should be prosecuted for deception or nothing like that should happen. So the approach was purely ideological. No facts, and the law and the codified laws didn't matter. They just ignore them. And so the way they decided to do this is that now the mother had told this 10-year-old girl that the guy that she thought was her father isn't, and apparently took it very, very badly, and there was talk of attempted suicide and that sort of thing as a result of this. But so what they decided to do was they can't let the guy know that he's not the parent. So what they're going to do is they're going to accuse him of child abuse. So they're going to conspire. A number of parties are going to conspire in the court with the judge, by the way, conspire to falsely accuse this guy of child abuse. So then the judge can say, well, you're not allowed to come within 500 meters of the child. You're not allowed to telephone the child or, send a letter or a Christmas card or anything like that. You're allowed no contact whatsoever, and on pain of imprisonment, by the way. So they want to make sure he doesn't get to find out what's happened. Now, so there's the accusation of child abuse, and now it's not enough that they don't. The accusation isn't the sort of accusation that a prosecutor's office would be interested in. It's very, very vague and very circumstantial and very, we think it might have happened, but we have to err on the side of caution. Remember, it's a child that is at stake here. We have to take. So that's the play that they do. Very ideological. Very, we have to protect the child. Protect the child from what? From your own lies or the lies of the mother, or what's the go here? So anyway, so the guy is accused of child abuse. Not enough for a conviction or a court case, or nothing that a public prosecutor would be interested in. Just enough to get him the fuck out the way, which is, of course, the intention. Now, the monstrosity of this, apart from the false accusation, is that all the organs of what should be justice, lawyers, judges, child lawyers, all this, they're all conspiring. They're all getting together and going, yeah, let's do that. Yep, let's falsely accuse this guy. So they're conspiring to commit. I mean, this isn't low-level perjury, gross perjury. You can't get much more perjury than this. Conspiring to commit perjury in a court of law, or an ostensible court of law, just because they want an ideological outcome. So their reasoning is that, we don't want the guy to know because he may kick up a fuss and take the mother to court or something like that. And on top of that, we want to still be able to gouge him for things like child support and alimony. So if this comes out, then suddenly he won't have to pay anything. And so we can't have that. So we want to keep on gouging him. So that's enough. So the whole thing is an ideological play. She's entitled to this money. Well, why? Yeah. But now the lawyer's explaining this with so calm, he's so matter of fact, and having little chuckles here and there when it looks slightly sheepish when he talks about how they conspire to commit perjury, with all the parties involved, but not so much. And it's ideologically necessary, and it has to be done. And if you subscribe to my ideology, you'd think so too. But all the people involved there all share that same ideology. Straight white man bad, straight white man oppressor, straight white man evil, straight white man must pay compensation. All this sort of, they all subscribe to these views, and the judge included. So this is how these perversions of justice can take place without anyone looking sideways at it. Certainly none of the people involved there. Now, I don't believe that the politicians and the body politic are unaware of this. So they're going along with it, and the media are certainly not unaware of it. They're effectively cheering it on. No one's calling it out. No one's questioning it. No one's saying, hey, hold on a minute. You are conspiring to commit perjury in a court of law to falsely accuse someone of something they haven't done. And you're also failing, if not refusing, to hold to account someone who's engaged in large-scale deception and fraud in order to gain financially from it. Goodness me. So now in the days when facts mattered and due legal process and people had an understanding of the law and right and wrong and clearly codified laws, that sort of thing, it would be a different thing. There'd be all sorts of, the woman would be charged with a crime. They'd have to make restitution to the man for the money he'd lost, and or there had to be a lot of things would go on to make it right. But no, their view is it's now an ideological issue, has nothing to do with facts, nothing to do with law, nothing to do with right or wrong, and they believe by doing this, conspiring to commit perjury to falsely accuse someone. They believe that they are the moral superiors in doing this, that they are morally superior, and the damn straight white male is the moral inferior, which is why he's being damn well slapped around, which is his just fucking desserts. Damn Nazi he is, and so on. So this is where we're going, and whether you're looking at the new district attorneys that George Soros is funding, that in the United States, that are being places like San Francisco and Los Angeles and districts in Philadelphia and so on, that they've got these views of the law, that it's they're reinterpreting it as a particular ideological construct rather than codified laws, that where there's a very clear right and wrong. So anyway, that's where I think the law is heading, and I think it's going to continue heading there until the body politic, the politicians who don't seem to care. Again, they either don't care or cheer it along, or until there's some sort of integrity brought back into the legal system. That doesn't mean that every single judge and every single court is corrupted. It's not that way. It's not that bad. But enough of them are. And for these ideological flunkies and stooges, if they want an activist judge to be found to hear a certain case, then they'll fix it and they'll arrange it, and they can do it without trying. Look at the way some of the January 6th attendees have been treated, or Roger Stone and so on. They want activist judges. They can get them if they want them. So that's my take on things. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.